Welcome back to Jon S Sports channel, where we're going to do League One Week 22, and we're going to go straight in with Orient versus Crawley, which is going to be a difficult game because Orient have been playing really well. That 4-0 win against Barnsley was really good on the back of a 0-0 draw to Burton, 2-0 win to Charlton. In fact, if you look at their last 6 games, win, draw, win. Leighton Orient are only going in one position, and they are at the minute in 15th position. They're playing a Crawley side who are in 21st. However, they've been playing some good football and occasionally just being able to make, like I say, that 20, 30, 40 minutes worth of really excellent football that's turned games around. Draw, win, lose, but they didn't get trounced at Birmingham like we thought they would. It was just a 1-0 defeat. Their defence played really well, really resiliently. However, they're playing a Leighton Orient side that just seem to have got their mojo back, and they ain't getting rid of it very soon. I can't see at home Leighton Orient managing to lose this one. That was an away win at Barnsley. Okay, home draw 0-0 against Burton, but Burton have been playing some pretty good improved football, should we say, themselves. So, yep, how many goals have they been scoring? 2, 3, 2, none, 4. You know, they can score, and they can score quite often, and they can score good goals. These aren't fluke goals. The downside for Crawley is that in the time that they're not playing really improved football, they're pretty average. And I can see Leighton Orient being able to pull this one, this fact in their favour. So for that reason, we're going to go with Leighton Orient 3, Crawley 0. Sorry, I don't see Crawley being able to make much of that little bit of a period that they are playing really good football, and they are playing really good football. Perhaps they'll manage to do it through the whole 90 minutes, who knows. And then we go on to Birmingham versus Burton, and this is going to be an interesting one because Birmingham have won all their last 6, 2-1, 2-0, 2-1, 2-1, 2-0, 1-0 against Crawley. You know, they couldn't break that defence down quite as easy as they thought, and although they were making some really brilliant shots from distance and some really powerful ones, certainly by Stansfield, you can't help but think, you know, they must have been a little disappointed that some of those weren't on target. But they're playing a Burton side who have improved. Draw, win, lose, draw against Orient, which was pretty good for them. Because they are playing really well. It's the only 2 points. The only points they've lost in the last 6. And Exeter defeat last time out 2-1 at home. I think this one will be a little bit easier for Birmingham, and it's at home. You know, Birmingham must be the favourites against the Burton side that just don't seem to be improving quickly enough. They are improving, and I know the last 4 lose, draw, lose, but they are actually improving. I have actually seen an improvement in their style of play, and they're keeping the ball, and some of their shots are actually quite decent. So they have got a chance of perhaps holding this team off. However, I don't think they will. I'm going to go rather strange. I'm going to go Birmingham 2, Burton 0. I don't think Burton will score. I think they'll learn from the previous game against Crawley of Birmingham's, and they'll start to just be able to keep them to a little bit of a distance. And I think that might be the only way that they can do it. Well, it probably will be the only way they can do it. Bolton versus Barnsley now, and Bolton played excellently against Wycombe. I thought they really did play well. Came back into it and really played a good game of football there. Wycombe, kept at a distance, not quite being able to take some of those really good chances that they had. So Bolton are prone to allowing teams to have those chances. Bolton win, draw, win, lose, draw. They're sort of quite a mishmash, aren't they, at the minute? They can play excellent football. They can score lots of goals. Against a Barnsley team that just seem to have lost their mojo completely. Draw, lose, win against Exeter, which an Exeter played really well. It's like, where did that come from? And then, so they win against Exeter 2-1, right? Away from home. Exeter are playing really good. And then they lose 4-0 at home to Leyton Orient. And you think, did they just not turn up? Barnsley aren't a team that tend to, underestimate their opponents. Certainly not, especially when they've been doing so badly. Will this run continue for Barnsley? Will the improvements still continue for Bolton? They're a little bit up and down. They're very irregular on their results, and I can see this one being a draw, but I don't want to sit on the fence. So with this one, I'm going to go with a Bolton win, I think, and we'll go. I'm going to go Bolton 2, Barnsley 0, because they just seem to be able to get 2 or 3. They seem to just have that ability to at least score 2. They can score more. It could be a 4-0 dribbling again, but I can't see Barnsley quite dropping off that badly. Not this time. So we'll go with that, and we'll go on to our next game. Now, this is Charlton versus Cambridge, and I think Charlton have turned a corner. I think Charlton have started to get that technical ability back, and have started to get that good quality shot back in their toolbox. Certainly, the Mansfield, that was a good draw for them. I think that Charlton should have won that one, really. Northampton, last time out, 5-0 winners, and they really did rule that roost, didn't they? They lost against Leyton Orient 2-0, but Leyton Orient are a side that I can imagine Charlton on that day particularly. I think they underestimated them. Leyton Orient down in the bottom, they're 2 or 3. We're bound to win it, and they didn't. They lost 2-0 at home. So, I can see things like that happening in the past with Charlton. Will they do that the same here? Yeah, it's possible. Absolutely possible. Cambridge fans, they could underestimate you completely here. Charlton are in 11th and Cambridge are in 22nd. I can absolutely see them underestimating them and thinking at home we're going to slaughter them. And suddenly it's a 0-0 or a 1-0 to Cambridge. However, I'm going to go with what I think most people are thinking, which is it's going to be a complete turnaround here for Charlton. And I'm going to go Charlton 4, Cambridge 0. I don't think they'll actually score, but we'll have a go. We'll see what happens. And we go to Exeter versus Bristol Rovers. Now, this is an interesting one because Exeter have been, last time out they played really well against Burton, and it could have been 3 or 4-1 to be quite honest. So they have shown really good performances, and they only lost 2-1 at home to Birmingham. A good performance there. But in the last 6, including the Chesterfield FA Cup win, draw, lose, win, it's a little bit haphazard. They do tend to play good football, even if they don't particularly turn up for the game. But they can turn up and play some damn good football, like they did against Burton last time out. But it's the same with Bristol Rovers. And it's really one of these games that could go 2-1 either direction. It really could. But it could also be a draw. Because Bristol Rovers win, lose, draw, lose, draw, and the defeats. Okay, Birmingham and Leyton Orient, you'd expect that. Because Leyton Orient are playing really good football recently. And Blackpool, new manager bounce back again? Yeah, I think that they're starting to re-get their mojo back, but it's taken a little bit of while to get back up to that initial quality that they had when he first came in as manager, isn't it? But they can turn up and they can not turn up. But in their case, when they don't turn up, they really don't turn up and they play pretty poorly. I'm going to go on the fence. I'm going to Exeter 1, Bristol Rovers 1, and we'll quietly sneak away into the next game. Please do tell me what you think. Don't click the dislike. Just give me a comment in the comments box and tell me what you think. And obviously, like and subscribe. Please do. Huddersfield versus Stockport. Now, this is going to be a really, really good game because Huddersfield are trying to create. They're saying they're going to create a really good team in January. They're going to spend money. They're going to get some really good players to make sure they have a good chance of promotion, or in their own words, the best chance possible of promotion. So Huddersfield win, lose to Bolton, and they lost pretty significantly, 3-1. I don't think they even turned up, to be quite honest. Draw to Lincoln City, and Lincoln can be up and down. So probably one of their good days, Lincoln. And then a thrashing of Cambridge last time out, 4-0. Against Stockport, who they won Peterborough 2-1 last time out, but they could have made it a little bit more. They could have done 3 or 4, but they just didn't have that finishing quality. But they do push forward, even when they go behind. They have this knack of just keeping on pushing and keeping on trying to get that equaliser and trying to win it. And it's that never say die attitude that seems to be the thing that gets them through it. But it also means you can't really tell what the score's going to be, because you don't know whether they're going to be total blockade at the back or not, because they play different styles of football against different teams. I think they'll try a blockade because Huddersfield can be really good. They can score quite freely if they're given the opportunity. So they'll try not to give them the opportunity. They'll probably catch them on the break, seeing as they're away from home. But I think the Huddersfield side is just a little bit too strong for the Stockport County side, and I'm going to go with Huddersfield 2, Stockport County 0. And we move on to our next game, which is Peterborough versus Mansfield. Obviously, Peterborough last time out lost to Stockport. We just mentioned them. They could have lost by more. But they had some really good shots. Peterborough actually had some excellent shots. And it's really weird because for the majority of the game, I think Peterborough really were slightly on top of that. But when Stockport came back, they came back with a vengeance, and they really did make sure they won that game. And I thought it was a really good comeback. And I think that they showed that Peterborough can just keep plodding along at the same sort of style football. They didn't really change it when things started to move too far in the Stockport direction. On the other hand, win, lose, win, lose. They're doing quite well. And they do, on the whole, turn up quite well. And Peterborough, to me, are a side that can score a lot of goals. And they can... let's have a look at the attempts they made at Stockport. Near to the stats. See, Peterborough only made 5 shots in the entire game, which unfortunately is akin to Mansfield's. And Mansfield are the same. They don't shoot very often, but they do have a tendency to the 1 or 2 that they do shoot go in. Mansfield Town lose, win, lose, draw, win against Rotherham 1-0. Could have been several more. Could have been at least 3-0. So we're seeing 2 teams here who can score quite freely from the few goals, from the few shots they have on goal. And those few shots they have on goal are akin to the low number of shots they have in the entire game. This could be a very, very boring game. And, I'm going to say that they're going to cancel each other out. I'm going to say Peterborough 0, Mansfield 0. Anybody's going to win it, it will be Peterborough. If I wanted to say come off the fence, if you're all there saying, oh, come off the fence, John, come on, give us a winner, I'll say 1-0 to Peterborough. But I think it's likely to be a pretty even game. Reading versus Northampton next, and Reading win, draw, lose. The last two though, well, you have to look at who they're playing. The wins were against Harborough and Cambridge. The two draws were against Wickham, very good draw, and Walsall, not so good. And the defeats were against Blackpool, who have been getting back that new manager bounce feeling, haven't they? And Lincoln City, who have been playing a little bit poorly of late, but they seem to turn up last time against Reading, didn't they? But Reading didn't turn up at all. I don't think they really, they just didn't seem to turn up against a Northampton side who can play some really damn good defensive football. And I know what you're saying, yeah, but they let in 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in the last 3 games. Yeah, they did. And they lost to Rotherham 3-0, and Rotherham have been playing pretty poorly. They played pretty well on that day for some strange reason. I think this is going to be a game where will Reading turn up? And that I'm saying that because Northampton will play their usual football, and they can play some really good defensive line football, but they haven't been of late. I think we're going to see Reading come back. I really do. I can't see Reading at home not coming back from this. Northampton are just, to me, lose to Rotherham, lose to Peterborough, lose to Charlton. Okay, Charlton 5-0. Yeah, it must have hit them. And seeing the fact that they've lost 3-0, 3-0, 5-0, it's gonna be one of those. I think it's good. Could be one of those 6 games defeated, lose, and then they'll come out of it. It often lasts about 6 games, which means they're going to be right in the middle of it here. I'm going to go for Reading 3, Northampton 0, and we'll move on. Reading, Northampton. Two, Rotherham versus Wigan. Now, Wigan are away. Win, lose, win, draw against Shrewsbury. What happened with that defence? Not quite sure. I did ask for a few comments. Hopefully we'll get some. I don't know how they managed to let Shrewsbury Town in to equalise. It's just really weird. Own goal, great goal though. Against the Rotherham side, win against Bradford. Lose against Crawley, then win, and lose against Mansfield. Rotherham managed to play some good football against Northampton. They actually played good football. I'll admit it. They played well. I didn't think they would. However, you've got to look at the Virtue Trophy in the midweek of that. Tranmere Rovers, of all people, 3-2 win, and we only just scraped that one. They could have come back in the 90-odd minute and equalised quite easily. They nearly did. And you think they're playing garbage. So what are Wigan? How are Wigan playing? They're actually playing some good football. They were 2-0 up against Shrewsbury, and they were looking like they were going to just gently motor through that 90 minutes and win it at least by those 2 goals. But then they score in their own net and then let one in. Bolton 2-0 win. Chesterfield Virtue Trophy 3-2 defeat, but they're probably not particularly bothered about that. Leighton Orient defeat, but Leighton Orient's playing really well. Huddersfield defeat, but only by 1-0, and Huddersfield are playing really well. And before that, FA Cup 2-1 win away at Cambridge. Yeah, they are actually playing some good football. They just seem to make some stupid mistakes. Will they make some stupid mistakes at Rotherham? And I just think that they're going to be wanting to show that they've learnt what it means to be in League One, whereas Rotherham they just seem to be trying to play this idea that they're going to get back into the top 10 and everything will be all forgotten by the fans of what happened in the first half of the season. Unfortunately, the manager found out by the name calling that he got in the last game against Mansfield that they're not going to forget very quickly. I'm going to go with Rotherham United 0, Wigan 1. Now we go to the Shrewsbury-Lincoln game. Now Shrewsbury came back against Wigan, didn't they? Lose, win, lose, draw against Wigan. But they once they got that first goal from the own goal, they suddenly changed. And they showed that they could actually play football. They showed that they could be, they could tackle better, and they were going for balls that they weren't for the other 65 minutes. And all of a sudden they were tackling. They were going for balls. They were passing them and trying to get to the receiving end. So they can play some really good football. They did against Wigan. And that was away from home. If they could do that for the entire 90 minutes, which I don't think they can, they'll do really well. But Lincoln of late have just started to play well. They've only lost 1 out of their last 6, and that was against Rotherham United. And they played absolutely dreadful. Rotherham played awful, and Lincoln played even worse. But since that game, a draw against Charlton 0-0, 0-1 win against Morecambe, 2-2 draw against Huddersfield, and the last one 2-0 win for Lincoln City against Reading, where Reading didn't turn up. And that's critical, I think, here, because they won 2-0 when a team really, to me, didn't actually turn up and play decent football. And for that reason, I just see that Shrewsbury could throw a wobbler in here. I'm going to play a bit of a joker, and I'm going to go with Shrewsbury 1, Lincoln 1. And we go to Stevenage versus Wickham. We will look at the... we see Wickham are in second place now. But it looks like Birmingham are certainly going to take off and be first. Stevenage are in 14th, and they have been doing really well, but of late they've been sort of a bit hit and miss. Win against Wealdstone, which you'd expect. Draw, lose against Swindon in the Virtue Trophy, but again, they're probably not really that bothered. And then a win 4-1 against Shrewsbury away. Yeah, but you'd expect that. Bolton 0-0 at home. Now, very few chances there, and I look at Wickham and I think, draw, lose, win, draw against Blackpool. Would they, I can see another draw coming here. I know Wickham have made some really good shots in that Blackpool game, and there were some, in the Bolton game, but it still turned out 0-0, and I just can't see it. I can't see the depth of squad. I don't know. I don't know what it is. If you want to tell me, then please do. They should have won that one, the Bolton game. I think realistically, when I think back, there were some cracking shots by Ollie and people like that who should have got them at least on target. and they went scuttling back past the post. So they can score lots of goals. They tend to score like 1-2, but they can score more. They scored 4-1 against Shrewsbury. So they can do it, but I think, will they do it against Stevenage, who certainly don't give up and they keep pushing, even if they're behind, they keep pushing the realms to try and to get back into it. This actually is a lot more harder than you think. It's I dulled down the Lincoln game, so I'm not going to dull down this one. This could be a draw, and I was tempted to put in a draw, but I'm going to go for Stevenage 1, Wycombe 2. But it could be a 1-1 draw. I just have a feeling it could be a 1-1 draw. And we go to Wrexham versus Blackpool next, and Wrexham win. Oh, draw against Cambridge. Weird. Cambridge played really well. A draw against Bristol Rovers. Bristol Rovers actually played. They turned up and they played good football. Either team could have won that one, I think, realistically. Against Blackpool, who win, lose, win, draw against Aston Villa in the Virtue Trophy, and a draw 0-0 against Stevenage. Just seem to have just to the point where they had the new manager bounce, and then they did really poorly when he went off to bereavement, and then he sort of, they started to play really well after recently. But I didn't see it against. I didn't see it at all against Stevenage. Is that just going to be a one-off? Is it going to be something more that Blackpool sort of come back and start playing more better football? I think it will be. I think that Blackpool will come back here and will start to play well. And I'm going to go strange. I'm going to again play a bit of a joker here. I'm going to go Wrexham 1, Blackpool 2. But you certainly aren't writing off Wrexham. They must be ready to fight for every point. They need it now to be able to keep in that top two. Just a quick look there at the table, because you've got Birmingham there in first, Wycombe in second, and you see you've got Wrexham there in third with 42 points. But they played 2 more games than Birmingham and 1 more than Wycombe. So in order to try and get into that top 2, they need to be certainly not losing games like we've suggested, and they drawing 2 in a row would have hurt their chances of getting up for Christmas quite severely, as it did. So we'll leave it at that. It's Jon S Sports channel. Please do like and subscribe. We'll be on with another predictions video at some point, and hopefully you'll enjoy them. Please do like and subscribe. Jon S Sports channel, over and out.